Did you know that lobsters were once the cockroaches of the sea? This is Howie from Hall of How, and I'm not pulling your leg, or should I say, your claw. Now you might be thinking, Howie, you've got to be kidding. Lobsters? The same delicious butter-drenched luxury we all dream of? Yes indeed, my friends. These crustaceans didn't always don the crown of culinary royalty. But let's dive into the briny depths of history and see how these bottom-dwelling bugs of the ocean claimed their throne. In the 17th and 18th centuries, lobsters were so plentiful along the New England coast that they would wash up on the shore in piles 2 feet high. Can you imagine? You could just go for a stroll along the beach and pick up dinner. But the people of the time didn't view these bountiful lobsters as a blessing. They were seen as pests, a nuisance that got tangled in their fishing nets. Lobsters were so despised that they were primarily used as bait for fishing or ground up and used as fertilizer. It's hard to believe, isn't it? And here's the real kicker. The people who were forced to eat lobsters were often prisoners, servants, and the poorest of the poor. In fact, serving lobsters to prisoners was such a common practice that there was even a law in Massachusetts limiting how often you could serve lobster to inmates to only 3 times a week. Any more than that was considered cruel and unusual punishment. But wait, there's more. Did you know that lobsters were once called the poor man's chicken? Yes, you heard that right. In the colonial period, lobsters were often referred to as the chickens of the sea. Not quite the same ring as king of the sea, does it? So next time you're cracking into a lobster tail, just remember, you're eating what was once considered the hot dog of the sea. What do canning, railways, and World War II have in common? They all played a part in lobsters' journey from trash to treasure. Let's rewind to the 19th century, a time when the canning industry was just taking off. Before this, lobsters were primarily a coastal delicacy, enjoyed fresh off the boat. However, with the advent of canning technology, the culinary landscape began to change. Lobsters were now being packed into cans, allowing them to be preserved and transported far beyond the seaside towns they once called home. But how were these canned crustaceans reaching the dinner tables of those living hundreds, if not thousands of miles from the coast? Enter the railway system. As railway networks expanded across the country, they became the highways of their time, facilitating the distribution of goods nationwide. Suddenly, that canned lobster wasn't just a coastal treat anymore, it was showing up on plates in the heartland and beyond, sparking a newfound interest and demand for this once-dismissed sea creature. Fast forward to the mid-20th century. World War II was in full swing, and with it came widespread meat shortages. As people searched for alternative sources of protein, guess what came to the rescue? That's right, our friend the lobster. Seen as an abundant and readily available resource, lobsters found their way back into the culinary spotlight. They were no longer the food of the poor or the prisoners, they were now a valuable commodity, a symbol of resourcefulness in challenging times. The increased demand, both during and after the war, coupled with the limited supply due to overfishing, led to a rise in the price of lobsters. What was once considered trash had now become a treasure. So the next time you're enjoying a lobster roll, thank your lucky stars for canned food in trains. Fast forward to today and lobster is considered a luxury delicacy, a far cry from its humble beginnings. Our clawed friend, once the bane of prisoners and the poor, now basks in the limelight as the star of gourmet dining experiences worldwide. Lobster has clawed its way up the culinary ladder, transforming from sea-bottom scavenger to high-end food item. Today it's a staple in fine dining establishments, gracing the plates of celebrities at award ceremonies and the menus of swanky restaurants. Whether it's a succulent lobster bisque, a classic lobster roll, or a sumptuous lobster thermidor, this crustacean has indeed become synonymous with luxury. In popular culture, lobster has become a symbol of opulence and indulgence. It's the food of choice for celebrating special occasions or impressing a date. It's even made its way into our language. Ever heard the phrase, putting on the lobster? It's an old-timey way of saying you're dressing up or going all out. But while we're savoring the rich, buttery taste of lobster, there's a whole industry working tirelessly behind the scenes. The modern lobster industry is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, employing thousands and feeding millions. It's a complex network of lobstermen, distributors, and restaurateurs, all dedicated to bringing that delectable sea creature from ocean to plate. However, this popularity comes with its challenges. Overfishing and climate change have started to take a toll on lobster populations. Warmer ocean temperatures disrupt their breeding cycles, and overharvesting threatens their numbers. It's a delicate balance of meeting demand while ensuring the sustainability of the species. So the next time you're cracking into a lobster tail or savoring a spoonful of lobster bisque, remember, you're not just enjoying a meal. You're participating in a global industry, impacting ecosystems, and continuing a culinary tradition that has evolved over centuries. So remember, every time you're splurging on a lobster dinner, you're part of a centuries-long history of changing tastes and perceptions. From prison food to gourmet meal, the lobster has had quite the culinary journey. It's a fascinating tale of transformation, one that reflects the ever-changing tastes and values of society. In the beginning, these crustaceans were abundant and considered lowly. They were the food of the poor, the prisoners, and the servants. Lobsters were so plentiful, they would wash up on the shore in piles. They were seen as the cockroaches of the sea, hardly a meal fit for anyone of stature. But as the winds of time blew, the perception of lobsters began to shift. It was a change sparked by advancements in transportation and a clever bit of marketing. Suddenly, lobsters weren't just the trash food of the coastlines, they were popping up on dining tables far and wide. The once despised sea insect was becoming a culinary treat, a symbol of status and opulence. And today, lobsters are a luxury. They're the star of the show at high-end seafood restaurants, a delicacy enjoyed by food connoisseurs worldwide. They're a testament to the power of rebranding and the fickle nature of societal values. What was once a sign of poverty is now a symbol of wealth and indulgence. But perhaps the most intriguing part of this story is what it reveals about us, about our tastes and our perceptions. It shows us that value is subjective, that it can change and evolve over time. That what we may disregard or undervalue today could be the treasure or luxury of tomorrow. So the next time you see a lobster on your plate, take a moment to appreciate its journey. From the ocean floor to the prison floor, from the servants' quarters to the king's table, the lobster has truly lived a rags-to-riches tale. Lobsters may have been the underdogs of the sea, but they sure have clawed their way to the top. This is Howie from Hall of How, signing off and heading to the nearest seafood restaurant.